actually gone forever.
I really, really would have loved to have seen that species.
Grackly, oriole.
A dodo, man.
Actually, why don't you do azure kingfisher?
Well, I'm done. I guess I'll see you guys next episode or something.
Yay, birds.
I'm Dan.
I'm Rob.
I'm Justin.
We are
Avian Avarice.
Avarice.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Avian Avarice podcast. We are talking tonight about which extinct bird species we would most like to see. And each of us has our own individual choices, but we're also going to try to declare a winner for the team. If the team could see one species, what might that be? And Justin, we're going to start off with you. We're going to go from third up to first. So like your third, your second, then your first. Tell us, what is the third place bird? If you could see an extinct species, what would it be?
All right, so I did some homework on this topic, and I came up with the Oahu Akialoa honey creeper. Yeah, it's got a drastically down-curved bill. It's a olivey, yellowy, green kind of a color, but I thought what was really interesting is, first of all, there's no bill like that on any bird in North America. I know Hawaii is not really North America, but it's the United States. But it used the bill to remove bark and eat arthropods, and it used it for sucking nectar out of flowers, which I thought was a really, you see a bill that's so specialized like that, you would think it only has one purpose, but in fact it had two. And it's, my basis for picking most of these birds is how pretty they are versus, other niche things they might have had but that was my number three.
Now, the stipulation here is we said that these have to be birds that went extinct like since 1500. So like, we're not going to be debating like what's a bird and what's not a bird kind of a thing. Right. Yeah, that's a good one. I like that one. Didn't make my list though, I got to say.
Oh no, the next one I say is going to make your list.
Okay. Rob, what was your number three?
Well, first of all, since it's going to be like a semi-point, we got to talk about debates. I feel like he meant to say arthropod, not anthropod, some other human-like bipedal. But just throwing that out there. Two, my number three. I felt the need to limit myself to birds I could possibly see, given the country that I've grown up in. So that was like one of my criteria that I internalized. So I said Labrador duck. I like ducks in general. So far as especially in Jersey, like we get to see a lot, we're kind of in the wintering range for a lot of them. And, first of all, something called a skunk duck as like its colloquial name, it's a go-to. There really was not a lot known about them, which part of like that makes it interesting. It's not like particularly striking. It has some cool, dark and white colors and stuff, but just the fact that it was close enough where like I could have made a trip to go for it if I really wanted to. And the fact that like it was relatively recently, extinct in that, since the 1500s was what made my list as number three.
So I had like an initial list and then I cut it down, right? So Labrador duck was not one of my finalists, but it was on my like initial short list.
Yeah.
I would love to see a Labrador duck. Like that would definitely be like a bird it would be it's definitely in my top 10. I can tell you that, but it's not my top three. So, all right. Speaking of top three and speaking of pronunciations, the gentleman who is the namesake of this bird went by the name Bachman, although most birders you hear will say Bachman. So I am talking about Bachman's warbler. I had a hard time putting my birds in order, to be honest, and it took me a while to narrow this down to three. But I had and still have a mug with endangered birds of the U.S., and it's funny because it said endangered on the mug, right? But presumably this thing has been extinct for about 75 years or more. And the Bachman's warbler was on the mug, and I stared at this thing like every day for, I don't know, like decades, right? Like I drank out of it last night. And I really, really always wanted to see it. And there was also a, is it Doonesbury, the comic? Do you guys know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, the corporate comic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There was actually a comic strip in like about somebody seeing a Bachman's warbler, and I'll never forget like reading that in the paper, and or it was probably a reprint, but So yeah, that bird's on my list. I haven't said barely anything about the bird itself, but I don't know. I really like the wood warblers in North America, and that's obviously one that I'm never going to have a chance to see. Um, I don't think there's. I mean, some people think there's still possible habitat where they could live down in the southeast of the U.S., but it seems like they just aren't there anymore. The specific type of like cane brake habitat that they used to live in is just gone. It's just because people have altered the southeast so much, so probably never going to get to see it. But that's my number 3.
So is it my turn for number 2?
It's your number 2 time. Yeah.
Imperial woodpecker, man. Imperial woodpecker.
Ooh, interesting.
Not on your list, Dan?
Before I say if it's on my list or not, you're going to have to explain what the imperial woodpecker is, because I feel like a lot of our viewers are like not going to be super familiar with that.
Okay. All right. Think pileated woodpecker, but add 6 inches in height. Add a couple inches on its bill. Imagine a woodpecker that puts holes in a tree the size of a bowling ball. Endemic to Mexico. They really never had a huge range, right? I think they're high mountain peaks with pine trees, I think in a coniferous area. Just the fact that, speaking for the group, we collectively love pileated woodpeckers, and that's the closest living thing left to compare it to. And we, we love that bird. And imagine one that has like a third more body length and bulk than that wonderful bird. Like it's hard to visualize a woodpecker that's 23 inches tall, and a wingspan like that. I mean, and the sound it must make when it hammers into a trunk, it must be just insane. It's hard to believe. And I know they went extinct in 1956. So, well, that was the last known photograph.
Let me jump in here. If I had yellow, I would throw a flag, because technically I am pretty sure the IUCN labels them as critically endangered, possibly extinct. So the call is in question.
Like Rob is saying, this one is not necessarily absolutely certain that it's extinct. So let me tell you what I know about this, and I'm going to cite my sources here because I don't want to take credit where, credit is not warranted. This book here, Imperial Dreams, by Tim Gallagher, is a really good book on the subject, and it is my greatest source of knowledge on this particular bird. So a couple of quick things here. Imperial woodpecker, most people don't really know about, or don't really know much about its story, because, I mean, when you look at this, what do you think this is? Most North American birders see Ivory-billed woodpecker, which is probably its closest relative. 2 different birds, right? There are still almost a dozen extant Campephalus genus woodpeckers. So while in North America, New Jersey, the closest thing we can see, like visually, to this bird is pileated, there are still really close relatives of the ivory-bill and the imperial woodpecker in Central and South America. And I've had a chance to see 2 different species of those. Pale-billed was one of them. Those birds are unbelievable. They are not nearly as big as the extinct ones, right? We'll decide that in a second. But they are, like, in form and in vocalizations very close, and they're just so cool to see. So the reason I digress here is because Justin is saying, you're saying imperial woodpecker, and you are not saying ivory-billed woodpecker, right? So, right. Okay, so I'm going to concede that imperial woodpecker was on my finalist list. I did not choose it as one of my top 3.
Because you saw others. I didn't see anything like that.
Okay, sure. To Rob's point, I guess a thing we have to address here is, when do we Avian Avarice decide that a bird is extinct? Does this bird count? So here's the what I know about it.
We're going to Mexico.
I wish we were, but like the place where this bird lived was drug country, like high drug country. Yeah. And it's relatively inaccessible because of danger. And when Gallagher went out there and did this study, it's one of the last like big studies that was done. They didn't find any evidence of the bird. and logging companies basically had paid people off in Mexico to hunt them and kill them. And they did find some like really elderly people who had seen them as kids, but had never seen them since. So eyewitness accounts in Durango basically say this bird doesn't exist anymore. Now, could it exist? Yes. I mean, like, there's no way to know that something isn't there. But I personally, as one member of this team, am willing to believe this bird is extinct, even if the official is a little more conservative and saying that maybe it's not. Justin, I'm assuming you are satisfied that this bird doesn't exist.
Well, you're putting me in it's a hard question to answer, Dan. I mean, I guess selfishly at this moment, yes.
Yeah, and I'm like, just, hey, what are rules? Whatever,
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously, none of us can personally know that all of these birds don't exist. But I guess the bottom line is if you believe the bird is not extinct, then I guess you're going to have to just not vote for that at the end here and disagree with it. But, I think we're going to let it go for now.
With the deep and heavy sigh, I will go to my number 2. So my number 2, again, I was staying more like U.S. North America, like centric for like things I possibly had a more reasonable chance of seeing if they had stuck around. I was going with great auk. So in general, I have not had a lot of experience being able to have opportunity to go out for alcids in general. And this thing is like just straight up 11 pounds of awesomeness. It was, I think, the biggest one in the modern era, and then potentially like number 2, like overall for the alcids in like overall size, 11 pound. I mean, it's essentially like for the non-bird or intro birder, it's like the closest thing we kind of have to a penguin looking thing. It's essentially just like a massive razor bill for those current birders that are familiar. And it would just be awesome, like just this thing bombing cliffs and everything else. It was pretty active in the North Atlantic, and then again, like hunting, exploitation, etc., kind of like put it into its demise. But just like a big old bird, kind of looks like a razor bill, but kind of like big penguin size. Like I'd be very happy to see one.
Yeah. That was also on my finalist list, but it didn't make my final cut.
Yep.
So I'm right there with you, Rob. That's like, I would not be upset if that was like the one extinct bird I got a chance to see.
Yeah.
But did not make my list.
Mm-hmm.
My number 2, and I mean, I had to think about whether this was number 1 or not for a while. Like, it really was a tough choice for me, but a bird that I really, 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 really wish I could have seen, like so much more than my Backman's warbler, like this is a big step up, is Carolina parakeet. I really, really would have loved to have seen that species. To me, it's kind of like a window on a whole extinct, like ecosystem. I mean, Backman's warbler is kind of in there too. A lot of people don't know we had basically a conure that was native to the United States. And went extinct around, I forget the exact year, but like roughly 1850-ish. Loss of habitat, hunting, both played a role. And I mean, just this awesome green parrot with this like sun yellow head and orange on the face would have been just such an awesome bird to see, and something that would have been, pretty much unique. And I find it really interesting. I know they're not in exactly the same geography of the U.S. and certainly not the same habitat type. But I think it's funny that we've got these monk parakeets that are like popping up in different cities on the East Coast, kind of almost like, it's not really natural in any way, but it's like almost like a nature saying, hey, there should be a parrot here. We're gonna let these guys go and like let them survive because you guys ruined it. But yeah, I would really love to have seen a Carolina parakeet.
You took my number 1. A cool stat about them: the northernmost parrot ever. They went up to Wisconsin in the summer. They went up to Upper New York State. It's Upper New York State, almost the Adirondacks, and North Jersey, where we are. And they were hunted for. They were shot for being pests. They had, habitat loss, and then they were shot for vanity because their feathers were used for plumes in women's hats. Well, I'm done. I guess I'll see you guys next episode or something.
Now that was my number 4. That's one I definitely want to see, but I knew there'd be high competition for it because I will say like when I was in medical resident or going for my medical residency interviews, I had done one in Miami, and that was like my first exposure to like I am in the city and like parakeets are like flying through the city. It was just such a like a bizarre, cool thing. And I'm like, man, how cool would that be to like be in like the Carolinas, like whatever, and like just see and like again, as you mentioned, like the closest thing we have is like monk parakeet, which is I don't know, it's just so wild to see that in Jersey. Like it's super fun. So I will step up to the plate here, and I feel like listen, as I'm a rules guy, right? I like the rules, but I also am a competitor. And like part of when we were getting ready to do this podcast, we were trying to think of like different things, different point systems, etc. And I'm like, I definitely want to give a true idea of like, hey, these are the things I want to see, but also like I kind of want to have that competitive edge. So yeah, and I'm like just hey, what are rules? Whatever based on criteria of extinct species. There are only 5 birds on the IUCN list that are considered extinct in the wild, but not extinct overall. And I feel like that's that gray zone that I love to live in. I'm about the gray zone.
Are you kidding me?
So,
you just gave me crap about the imperial woodpecker, and now you're going into this mode right now.
So sticking with the idea of I want to stay with kind of U.S. Grounds and official territories. The Guam kingfisher will be my number 1 bird. It's a cool bird. It basically was brought to extinction in Guam due to the introduction of brown snakes and predatory snakes and other things. That being said, still 200 birds remained in captivity. They started a breeding program, and they've now released them again into basically the largest marine preserve in the U.S. in the Southeast Pacific, with I think it was like 9 or so birds that were released into the wild, and in 2025 had their first successful nesting season. So I have a bird that is extinct, yet also I have in the wild, which was then possibly reintroduced, and I can potentially see. That is an extinct in the wild bird, only 5 on the list, that is in our territory that I have possibly the chance to see. I mean, that's got to count for something. Yeah, and I'm like, just, hey, what are rules? Whatever.
Everybody at home watching this, the imperial woodpecker is gone. I'm just throwing that out there.
Maybe.
Gone forever. It's gone.
Maybe all I know is that a bird that has not bred in the wild for 40 years, suddenly bred in the wild, was extinct in the wild, now not extinct. There's only 5 on the list. 5, one hand. I feel like that's a shoo-in, man. I feel like I got the win.
We're going to settle this the YouTube way. If you think Rob is right, put it in the comments below. And if you know Rob is wrong, put it in the comments below. It's just as simple as that. And on the same token of hot takes and controversial issues, my number 1's Ivory-billed Woodpecker.
All right, really? You're gonna give me all that trash and throw an Ivory-billed?
That's
really?
Why I said I.
Well, but, okay. So first of all, just hold on, time out. Okay, we anybody who's watching this probably at least knows what an Ivory-billed woodpecker is and has some idea of like what we're dealing with here. Obviously, the big issue is this thing really extinct or isn't it? I mean, I know I've met people who claim to have seen them in the last 20 or 30 years. My personal take, putting it on the list, I'm not pulling a Rob here. I personally believe the bird is extinct. Like there aren't any anywhere, not Cuba, not the US. I sure hope I'm wrong. I mean, like I mean, it's my number 1, right? I really, really, really wish and hope I'm wrong, but I think there aren't any. I'd like to believe there are. I don't think there are, right? So that's my number 1, and it's really for the same reasons that Justin chose imperial woodpecker. I've just always had more of an attachment to the ivory bill, having heard about it as a kid, like single digits, 8, 9 years old. It was always like this. I mean, they call it the grail bird. It was always like this holy grail of birding for me. And if I had the chance to see one extinct species, that's it, because of all of those reasons. What do you guys have to say about it?
What I think you have to say about it is, all right, let's say we get more access to Cuba. We find out that bird is existing. Do you consider that extinct just because we didn't have access and because of geopolitical reasons? And is that a
No.
more valid win versus something that was extinct in the wild and then was reintroduced?
No, I mean that's just then. Then it never was extinct, and I'm just wrong in my claim, and then I'm getting a ticket to Cuba like tomorrow.
100%.
But that's,
I'm with you, man. We're getting that fast boat to there right away because that would be such a cool
yeah,
win.
right.
Like I genuinely, whenever we do our competitions, I don't think there's a single one of us who doesn't take like an extra second just to look at a pileated, being like, like it's so close, so close.
Yep. That's funny because in pre-recording, I told Dan that I thought we were going to have one bird on our list that was the same because I didn't think you'd say Ivory-billed Woodpecker because in case you thought it wasn't fully extinct, which is why I thought you would take the Imperial Woodpecker. And then we get the Carolina Parakeet instead. So, I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I've really gone back and forth on the two Campephala species, and I really do want them to be alive, but I just, at this point, I don't think they are. It's just, unfortunately. Well, so we have the issue then of like, what's our overall winner here? And I feel like it's actually kind of clear.
It's the parakeet.
Yeah, it's Guam Kingfisher.
the non-extinct Guam Kingfisher, everyone.
The extinct
That's
in the wild, only 5
bird.
listed. No, I mean, even so, regardless of winners, what were the close misses? I feel like I have like 3 or 4 birds that were close misses that I really, really wanted to put on, but like, again, the competitive nature. I'm like, these guys are definitely going to take this bird.
Like
I have one. I got it down to 4 because I was going for like beauty, and a lot of them that are extinct to me look like, well, I could see this one that's currently around and it's pretty damn close. So it's like I like the Bishop OO.
Mm-hmm.
That was on a short list for me for sure.
Yeah, that's a cool one. It's almost like grackly, oriole with a long tail. I can't really think of anything that looks like that right now. You know,
all of the Hawaiian honey creepers were like, they were all really cool, and I considered a lot of them, but for I guess it's just because I didn't know about them until later in life that I didn't have the same attachment to them that I've had to some of these other birds.
Yeah. I saw a least vermilion flycatcher, and I'm like, well, I mean, it looks exactly like a vermilion flycatcher. So, a lot of them were like that, or very drab, or, I mean, there were some cool ones from before 1500.
Sure.
Just awesome looking, but
here's one that's like totally different than anyone said tonight. I really was very close to having Eskimo curlew on my list.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that was a good one.
See, I mostly limited my list to North America-esque, like North American territories, U.S. territories. That being said, like there was a bunch of not that territory that I was really kind of going for, and like I don't care how dumb it is, I feel like there's just at least part of the conversation of like a dodo, man. Like that is like the quintessential, like it would be so cool to see this stupid like 40-pound ground dove just wandering around still, like and I say stupid in the sense of like it's just the quintessential, like it wasn't a dumb bird, it was like it lays a single egg, had tons of predators, had tons of other pressures, like for me, that was definitely on like the short list for me of like, I know it's cliche, but like it would just be so cool. There's nothing that really looks like it that we have,
Right.
I simply didn't pick it because I figured everybody would. It was like too obvious, I want people to learn something from us, not just hey, dodo bird. I don't know.
Yeah, but I don't think most people would know that. Like they know of the dodo. I don't think they would know that it's like a giant ground dove that it laid a single egg in a year. Like there's other factoids. Everyone's presumption of it is that it's just this big dumb thing, not that it like had a lot of other things. So that was one. The whole like elephant bird moa was like a really close short list. I mean, those things are just crazy. Like it's like a modern dinosaur. Like it was just I loved that. But that was also my very short list.
Well, I think we've kind of covered some really unfortunate unfortunate losses here in the bird
Yeah.
world, and that's another topic that we'll have to deal with at another time. But I do want to say, since it looks like we've kind of collectively chosen Carolina parakeet as the overall most popular for the three of us, I'm going to issue a little challenge here, and that is, Justin, you're the artist of the group. You're the one who does the artwork for our logos and stuff like that. All the logo graphics that we use on our channel. I would love to see a Carolina parakeet avian avarice graphic. I'm not sure how you would do that, but that's your problem. So let's see it. Let's see it.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. On that note, yay, yay, birds.
Dan, are you sure you don't want to do the Guam Kingfisher as an Avian Avarice logo?
I'm kind of sure.
That's hitting below the belt, bro.
You know what? Let me hit below the belt. Why don't you do Azure Kingfisher? Because I've seen that one.
That hurts a little bit more, man. It really does. Not gonna lie.
How about you guys? What birds did we not mention that you think should be on our list? Especially birds that are actually extinct and not almost extinct, like actually gone forever. If there's anything that we didn't mention, please comment below and follow us and wait for the next video to come out.